I bought a new kayak that I can do this with, and it's really, really awesome. Let me tell you about it. So, yeah, this thing is really, really cool. Like I said, it's really easy to move around. It's really easy to pick up, and that is one of the main reasons that I bought it. But before we get into all that, my name is Alex Rudd. This is the Alex Rudd Fishing YouTube channel. For you guys that don't know me, or if you're new here, appreciate you clicking on this video and watching. I do all kinds of fun stuff, fishing the boat, fishing the kayak. I just go fishing and have fun, and that's what I do, and I think that's what this kayak is going to be, and that's why I want to talk to you guys about it today, and then I want to introduce it to all of my audience that's been watching for a long time, because I know you guys always love to see when I get new stuff, and you always love to ask questions about why I got it. And so we're going to talk about why I got this kayak or this inflatable or this boat or whatever you want to call it today, and we're going to walk through this thing, and I'm going to show you guys a few features on this thing that I think is really, really cool. So here it is. This is the boat that I bought. This is an NRS Cuda 126. This thing is 12 foot 6 inches long. It weighs 30 pounds and is awesome. It's an inflatable kayak. Now, full disclaimer, I paid full price for this boat. I have no affiliation with NRS at all. If they want to have a conversation, I'm willing to have a conversation with them, but I have no affiliation with NRS at all. I bought this kayak just out of pure curiosity more than anything. I had so many people tell me, you got to check out the inflatables. The inflatables are awesome. Just the technology that they're using in them now and kind of what these kayaks or these boats or these inflatables can do is right up my alley as it comes to like fishing, and especially as it comes to kayak fishing, because my kayak fishing, you know, kind of journey and what it's looked like for me is I've used a little bit of everything. I mean, I've got the big Hobie PA14 sitting in there with the NK300 on the back. I've got the Shoaly, I've had Jacksons, I've had Old Towns, I've had a little bit of everything. I've paddled, I've pedaled, I've, you know, motored. And one thing about kayak fishing that I always love, though, is the adventure aspect of it. You know, getting out there, getting to somewhere someone else isn't willing to go or hasn't gone yet. And a lot of the times those adventures kind of involve using as minimal amount of gear as possible and the lightest gear that you possibly can use. And I had that with the Crescent, and I still think the Crescent is a great boat, but I was looking for something even lighter, even more simple, something throw and go. And that's what I found with this kayak. And so that's the reason that I bought this thing, is to be able to go on those adventures, go get in those creeks, throw this thing off the side of a bridge, hike it into a stream, just something where I can have something that, like I said, super easy to pick up, move around, take a paddle, a couple rods, and like a bag full of tackle and go on an adventure. That is what this purchase was meant for, and what I'm going to do with this thing, and what I'm most excited about using this boat for. But like I said, 12 foot 6 inches long, super duper simple, to be totally honest with you. I thought this was going to be like a lot more complicated of a vessel, and it's really not. When you look at it, essentially what it is it's a vinyl. It's a drop stitch vinyl. NRS really got famous and is known for whitewater rafts. This kayak or this inflatable is made just like one of their whitewater rafts would be. So like if you were to go on a guided whitewater trip, same exact material, same exact design and manufacturing process. And so essentially what that means is, for all you guys that are like, I'm afraid I'm going to pop this thing, I think that you would have to do a lot to pop it. And then if you do pop it, repairing it is actually way simpler than you think it is. And I've already kind of played around with some of the, you know, repair kit and all that stuff, and I keep it with me while I'm fishing and all that kind of stuff. And so that's not something you really have to worry about. But as far as simplicity goes, like I said, really, really simple kayak. It's got 3 chambers. These 2 outside chambers, which are kind of like almost pontoons on a pontoon boat, and then your center chamber. So you pump these chambers up by unscrewing these little things. There's 3 of these, 2 for each pontoon, and then the center one. And essentially you get a hand pump with the boat, and that hand pump comes with a little attachment that you screw in here. You just pump that thing up by hand. It takes about 5 minutes to do the entire boat. So if you were to deflate this thing, put it in the backpack, hike it into somewhere, once you get there, it'll take you about 5 minutes to blow it up to capacity. So the center is 20 PSI. These outside pontoons are about 3 PSI a piece. And once you have it at 20 PSI and 3 PSI, you have a fully functional kayak that you can essentially, without the seat or anything on it, get on and paddle around just like you would like a paddle board. And that's kind of what this thing reminds me of, is like a stand-up paddle board. And I think that that's the design that NRS went with, because it's super stable, because of that, you got those 2 outside pontoons that create a lot of stability, and then just ease of use as well. Then you got some lashing up at the front, lashing in the back, same exact way. It's just like a bungee cord system. This stays on here even when you deflate it, which is really, really cool. And essentially what I've been running with it is just a dry bag under the front, and you guys can see how light it is. Dry bag up under the front, and then if I want to, a crate in the back, and if I don't want to do a crate in the back, I'm just putting like a bag of tackle back here. Again, just keeping it super simple, super duper light. You've also got foot pegs up at the front. These are really cool. I think the foot peg is important because it gives you just a little something to press back on while you're paddling. And the more that I paddle and the more that I learn about paddling, having that kind of stability of having your feet on something really helps with generating the power in your arms and not like twerking that upper body. Because if you really like torque your upper body while you're paddling, it can cause a lot of discomfort in your lower back and in your hips and stuff like that. And so having these foot pedals here, or these little foot pegs, I guess, is really awesome for moving this kayak. Even though it only weighs 30 pounds, it is super easy to move. It's super easy to paddle. It's still nice having those there. It also comes with 5 of these little Yak Attack switch mounts. I've only mounted switch mounts on 2 of them here just because, again, keeping the boat super simple, keeping it very streamlined. I don't want a bunch of accessories on this thing. When I first got it, I had like 3 different people be like, are you going to put a motor on it? It's like, why would I put a motor on something that I literally bought to weigh as little as possible and be able to hike into an area? And so I'm going to keep this thing minimal. Literally, I think all I'm doing with these is just sticking a little roto grip on there so that I can throw my paddle in there when I'm measuring a fish or doing something like that with it. But it comes with 5 of those if you want to accessorize. And then the seat, I got the seat here. Seat collapses down. It is held in place by these little straps here. So it's not super duper stable, but you can still really kind of get these things super tight and hold this thing in place. And you guys can see it doesn't move very, very much. But the seat comes off via those straps, and it actually straps on the outside of the bag that this thing comes with. So fully deflated, you can strap the seat on the bag, put the kayak and the pump in the bag, throw it on your back, and walk into the woods with this thing. And that, again, is why I bought this kayak. That's what this kayak was designed for in my viewpoint and kind of how I want to use it. And that's what we're about to go do with it. And so without further ado, we've done a walkthrough of the boat. Let's go get this thing on the water. Let's go see how it performs. Let's go try to catch some fish, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the rest of this. All right, guys. Well, we have made it onto the water. This is super duper interesting, to say the least. Oh, there's a beaver dam. I've literally never noticed that before. I've never been on an inflatable before, so this is my first time on an inflatable and in my inflatable. And honestly, it's really interesting so far, to say the least. This observationally, it's what's weird is it sits on top of the water. So, like, that's the whole thing with an inflatable. You know, this thing isn't sitting in the water, it's sitting on top of the water. And so what that means is that, like, it's gonna act completely differently than a normal kayak would, because there's nothing in the water to, like, you know, slow it down. There's really kind of no drag in the water or anything like that. You know, it's all sitting on top. So not only do you get a really shallow draft, but then it's gonna act a little bit differently as well. But very interesting. Thing is very stable. That's probably the most surprising part. Like, the stability on this thing is, I mean, like, you have a hard time tilting it, which is good. I mean, that's what you're looking for. But yeah, let's go move these foot pegs up one more notch here. I'm a big old boy, so yeah, I like it. I like it so far. Let's get to fishing a little bit. All right. So we brought 2 rods with us today, keeping it super simple. In the creek, we got a jerk shad and a buzz bait. So that's the 2 baits we brought with us. Seems to be like, this little jerk shad seems to be like my little creek fishing number lately. This thing just gets bit in these creeks. It gets bit, period. It doesn't really matter where you are this time of year. You know, a soft jerk bait style bait gets bit, but I've been catching quite a few fish in it, in the creeks and stuff like that. We did some wading with John the other day, went down, did some different things with this thing, went with Brad in the jet boat, and ended up catching fish in all those scenarios on the old jerk shad. But yeah, I'm going to be very interested. I think one thing I'm most interested about is when I do catch a fish in this inflatable, how that's going to act then. Just being as light as it is, because I mean it's maneuverable though. That's the thing too. Like, I didn't think it would be very maneuverable just because it's so flat on the bottom, but very maneuverable, very easy to move around and just like make it turn and do different things, which is very interesting. So that's like a good thing too. It's like you're losing some, I don't know, I guess trackability, but you gain it back in maneuverability just in like being able to make simple little adjustments like that and make drastic movements just where this thing's so light. I think one thing I'm going to have to be really careful with in this thing is weight distribution and making sure my weight distribution is, you know, distributed properly, because like it's wanting to lean to the right just a little bit, and I think that that's just because I have my water bottle in this inflatable with me, and I think that water bottle is just enough weight to throw that weight distribution off. And so making sure everything's centered in this thing and everything's where it should be, I think is really important for these things. But so far I'm really impressed. I think that this is where this boat is going to be the ultimate though. Little water, little creeks, you know, just the small stuff like this, being able to kind of sneak around. I mean, it's so light, so easy to use. This thing only weighs 30 pounds. I mean, so you can throw it down a bridge and scramble down with your fish and stuff and go fishing for a little while and just largy. Yeah, heck yeah. Little dude. A little bit fat. Little fat guy. Lord of mercy. Look at that little tumbling. Oh, that's fun. The thing about today is, guys, we're probably not going to catch any big fish. I mean, all of them are going to look just about like that right there. This creek, I mean, I've seen some better ones in here, you know. I've caught some like 2-3 pounds, like, is big. Like, that's a big, there's another one, is big in this creek. And but there's a bunch in here about this size, and more than anything, I just wanted to come in here and test this kayak today, test this inflatable, and just know that I was going to be able to find some just like that right there. There's another one. Heck yeah, that's fun. But yeah, so that's about the average size, but it's fun when you're testing a new boat. Look at him. That's so cool. He's zoned in on something. That's awesome. That's a good one. Yeah. Ain't that good. He just bite me. Heck yeah. I never even felt him bite. He just kind of loaded up on it. That little chunky dude. Look at this. Got crawdad pinchers in the back of his throat. That's funny. Man, that hook gets him good. That's that Fusion 19. Lord have mercy. I mean, it gets him good every single time. Look at that, guys. I don't know if you can see it. Crawdad pinchers in the back of his throat. Little chunky dude, little creek bass, little crawdad eater. So, That's fun. Stability on the boat. There you go. You guys can see it does pretty good. I mean it's like being on a, it's essentially a paddleboard is what this is. I mean it's a paddleboard with a seat. And I mean it's like being on a paddleboard. I dig it. Pretty nice. A little bit of white water just to see how this thing handles. So yeah. Here we go. We'll see how she handles. Ooh. Yeah. Huh. That was cool. I was watching a way smaller fish, and this one come up and ate it. That was wicked. Heck yeah. See right there. So that's about peak size. Like I said, I've seen them a little bit bigger, but there you go. That was awesome. That was a really cool bite because there was a little itty bitty one following this thing, and I was just twitching it real slow, and this one just come out of that little bit deeper water and smoked it. It's awesome. Thanks, bud. All right, guys. Well, we are getting to the end of this float. Bethany's actually sitting down here waiting to pick me up. Did a little hot drop today where she drops me off at a access point and then picks me up at another one down the road. And so today was fun. It was good to get out here and to test this kayak. You know, I wanted this to be a video where not only we walk through the new boat, but we put the new boat on the water as well. And I think that that's super important. You know, there's a lot of people who walk through boats and then spend barely any time on them, but I got a lot of plans for this little inflatable, things that I want to go do with it. And I think it's going to be a great addition to what I've already got. You know, I've got the Hobie all decked out with the motor. I've got my Shoaly, and then I've got this thing. And I think just as like a portable, you know, grab and go, be able to throw this thing off the side of a bridge and clamber down to it, or walk into an area and inflate it and be able to go fish. And I think it's going to be really, really cool. And that's what I'm most excited to use it with. And you know, I'm going on a float Thursday with John and Josh. I'm probably going to take this thing just because it's light, it's easy, super maneuverable. I mean, it's got everything that I want in a kayak, where I'm going to grab it, go, and just go do a simple river float with a couple of rods. And most river floats are that. You know, you don't need a ton of stuff. You just need like a buzz bait and a fluke like what I brought today, or a buzz bait and a jerk shad like I brought today, and you go catch fish. And so yeah, I loved it. It was fun. We got about, I don't know, not even a quarter of a mile to get down here to the takeout point. But I'm so glad you guys watched this video. Really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you're excited to see this kayak in action, or you're planning on getting something like this in the future, leave me a comment down below and let me know. And as always, you guys are sweet, and thank you for watching. Yeah, just give me a second. Let me see how deep it is right here.
It doesn't look deep because it looks like I see a log right here.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's not 5 foot deep right here. Swear to God.
What can I do to help you?
Alright, it's not that deep.
Call it?
I'm calling it's gonna help. Let me move my kayak real quick.
Okay. You ready to pull it up on?
Yeah, this is right there. I'm gonna have to get the water going on too. Okay, well.
Just get down in your underwear.
That's all I'm gonna do.
So you can put your clothes back on. here, Chief. Are you okay? How far down was it?
I should have recorded that.
Yeah, you should have.
I just dropped my phone in the water. I got in and got it. I'm in my underwear. Okay.
Let's go.